Hi everybody, this is Adam Pecoraro from Flexoraro Fitness. Thank you so much for clicking on our video. We got a good one for you today. This is my friend John, and John's going to be doing a kickboxing workout on the Wavemaster. Now John is going to be starting with some drills to build skills. So what we're doing here is sequencing out every single technique that he's going to do in the combo of the day. So we begin with knee strikes. He's going to alternate so that he does a balanced training routine, right side, left side. His count is 60. Now, for the sake of brevity, we're not going to show you all 60. I'm just going to give you an overall impression of what it is that he's doing. And it's 30 per side in this alternating fashion. Now, the next activity is push kicks. The count is 100. Now, when we do the push kicks, we always go kick, step back, alternate, and then kick on the other side. So this is a 4 count. If after the kick, when we yank our leg back, that's 1, we then step back, that's 2, step forward with the opposite leg, which is 3, and then kick on the other side, which is 4. So after the kick, it goes 1, 2, 3, kick, 1, 2, 3, kick, back, 2, 3, kick, 1, 2, 3, kick. I'm sure you get it. You can strike with the heel or the ball of the foot, depending on the intent behind the kick. Ball of the foot will shove somebody back, stagger them, intercept them. The heel will break through them. And John's going to keep his base foot planted on the ground with a slight out turn. So he pivots, but he does not take the heel off the ground. Again, chest is up, eyes are up. He's trying to give a good thrusting motion on each kick. And that's where the conditioning comes in. So he's trying to conserve energy, but not so much that he's missing out on training benefit. He does want to give a solid kick. I think that's a good word to use, solid. Okay, so now we're doing the round kick, and the round kick count is 51. It's an odd number because we're going to do 3 kicks on one side and then 3 kicks on the other. I've asked him to make one of the kicks low, one of the kicks middle, and the last one as high as he can control. Now, John is dealing with a little bit of hip discomfort today. He has some lower back challenges that flare up from time to time. So he's simply adjusting when needed, but he's persevering wonderfully, and I asked him throughout the entire training how his hip was feeling, and he reassured me it was nothing that we had to worry about. He was just making a few adjustments, but he was able to continue on. So when he kicks low, he's going to imagine kicking towards his leg, right around on the outer thigh. Middle is like a rib kick, head would be like a neck where the carotid is, or a jaw kick. He pivots on every kick, keeps his chest up, and tries to rotate through to create torque. And again, 51 is the count that we're going for. The purpose of this video is to show methodology and see training and be inspired by it, but you can absolutely do this yourself. I do like training on Wavemasters, although you can always train in the air. The big thing is that when you have something to hit, you can work on range identification, power, accuracy of technique. It gives you really good feedback to make sure that you recover and are balanced after the technique is done. Training in the air should always be done gently so you don't hyperextend and deteriorate your joints. Okay, so now John's going to do a side kick, and we like to call this one a power side kick. But what he's going to do is he's going to cross behind to help load the hip, and that stepping behind motion is going to help propel him in. It's going to create momentum. But again, the reason he has to step behind is to load the hip in the right plane for the kick. Stepping in front turns the hip up and out. Stepping behind turns the hip down, and that's where you want it to be. He's going to jam his knee up and then drive with his heel right through the bag. I had to reinforce it here with the bike. Even with that, John still has to restrain his kick. He's going to alternate his way through, and the count for side kicks is 30, 15 per side. So now this is the hardest one for his hip. This is the spinning hook kick. So John is going to be rotating backwards 180 degrees and then following through with the rear heel or calf. In this case here, John is hitting the bag. I asked him to do a few reps where he hits the bag and a few where he misses, because in the combo of the day, we're actually going to miss the bag, and I'll give context for that a little bit later. And the count is only 16 total, 8 per side. It's very important to have eyes on the body, and after impact to recover, to be able to come back under your own control. And remember, power is nothing without control. Okay, so now it's time to start working the combo. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, that's a distance issue, right? Hey, this is a concern for practical application. Everybody, you might lose your shoe on somebody's head. So this is the axe kick, and the visualization that I've given John is to imagine taking down somebody's guard or closing the gap between where you are and where they are so that you can then go to something else. When you close the gap with a technique like this, you may not always be looking to hit. It's more about keeping them at bay so you can then follow up with something else. So those are what you would call a visualization, something to keep in mind to give context to the combo that you're doing. That way it could have a bridge to application. And there's other contexts as well. I mean, literally, he could be hitting someone in the shoulder or the head with an axe kick. But I think that because the kick is a little bit of a high-risk kick, being that it splits and comes right in on somebody, taking down something that has a little less mass, like the arm, or bridging the gap and trying to keep someone at bay, might be a better approach as far as application goes. At least in this context, because we're going to follow it up with some hands next. The previous techniques was just done for reps, and however long it took is however long it took. Now we got John working 1 minute on each side. Notice the motion. He's going to step back, alternate legs, and then crescent the kick up and pull down with his hamstrings and his hip flexor. Back, forward kick, much like we did on the knee strikes or on the push kick that we were drilling a little while ago. So now we're moving into our first hands of the day. Now, he started his workout by doing 3 different chest exercises and a back exercise that we did not show here in this video. And that was just to make sure that his arms got a balanced workout along with his legs. Knowing that the combo was going to be more leg heavy than hand heavy, I thought that would be a nice thing for him to do as a warm-up, lift a little bit of weight. We did it moderately, and now we're back into action on our hands. So his lead hand striking, followed by his rear hand. He's trying to pull his hand straight back so there's no trail, rotate through, good jab cross. In a little bit, we'll stack all of what you're seeing from the axe kick to this and onward into a long combo. Again, calling that the combo of the day. But right now, it's just working some of the pieces. You want to hit with the first 2 knuckles and make sure that your wrist is locked in tight. So I like to tell people, squeeze your fist on impact. This is a defensive side kick, different than the one we drilled earlier. So I asked John to imagine that the jab cross didn't score, and perhaps the counter that his opponent threw, he pulled away, dragging his lead leg in to avoid it, and then lifts his knee and jams the side kick. Now the key is to pivot the base leg. As he pulls and then lifts the knee, he can kick, but to really get some power, he's got to get torque. And that's where the base foot pivot comes in, and that will roll the hip and drill, just like a tool, drill into the target. Leg fatigue is no joke, but again, persevere when you drill these techniques, because the more you train them, the more you're going to up your level of conditioning. Now, segment number 4, he's going to frame with his lead hand. He puts his hand to the bag. Imagine putting your hand up to stop someone from grabbing their hands around your head, which we would call a clinch, or just to give them something to focus on other than your leg, perhaps as a distraction. Now, once the frame is up, he's going to take his front foot and step it off the line and kick low with his round kick. If the center line is 12 o'clock, he's stepping over, in this case, from an orthodox stance with his right leg back, he's stepping over to like 10 or 11. Now he switches to southpaw, frames off the lead, and again, if he's facing 12 o'clock, now he's stepping over to like 2 o'clock. He'll rotate through and kick. So he moves off their center line and he does a clotheslining kick towards their leg, their quadriceps, the IT band, whatever target of opportunity is present. Now, part number 5 of our combo of the day is simply a cross punch. So I asked John to drill the cross punch and try not to telegraph. Now he should move his head, move his legs, so that it becomes a little more live and a little more dynamic, like it might really be if you were sparring or in a defensive situation. But we don't want to pull back like a bow and arrow to release the punch. Moves his feet like he's stalking the bag and then fires. This is what you would call a broken rhythm. Now the clock is 30 seconds per side. When we did the axe kicks, we did a minute per side. Now we're doing 30 seconds per side. And we'll always try to train symmetrically, orthodox and southpaw. Are you going to be better at one side over the other? Sure, probably your dominant side, although that's not a guarantee. But the fact is that to get the most out of your physical fitness, you need to train both sides. And if you were in a defensive situation, I think you would want to be as versatile as possible. Now we're going to do a walkthrough of what it is we've learned so far. And we're going to add a spinning hook kick. I've asked John to go with no real power, just memorize it. This will allow him some recovery and he can process the sequencing. So again, it's the order in which we've presented everything to you, all the way up to that cross punch, but then adding that spin hook kick. Now the visualization I gave John was to imagine that the spin hook kick is the kill shot, okay? Maybe he finally hit with the last punch and he went for the spin hook kick, but they pulled out of range and he missed. So we want to work on recovery. Kick and recover. He does his switch axe kick, jab cross, pulls away, kicks low, frames up high, gets their attention to kick low, goes back to the high line, and then the spin hook kick, and we imagine that we missed, so he recovers. Frame and move off the line, get some distance. We move ahead to the next part of the combo. The combo is going to get longer. He's going to do a Superman, frame off, and kick with the opposite side of what he did earlier. So in this case, he's in an orthodox stance. He fakes with his rear leg, hops on his front foot to punch, frames with the opposite hand once he lands, and kicks. Step up and kick. Again, notice that step up, right? Before it was the front leg that moved out. Now we're taking the rear leg up to the opposite angle. Super in, frame up, move the feet, and kick. So at this point, John's been training for about an hour. That's including the weightlifting in the beginning. So it's a long workout, but it could be adjusted. You could always do less, and if you're new, you should definitely do less. But if you have experience, then this is a solid hour, 15-minute workout, and you'll feel like you got work when you're done, especially if you're training with intent, intent to get better, intent to hit with solid resistance. So here we are on the southpaw side. Superman in, you step up, swing to an angle, and then clothesline their legs. Okay, so now John's going to put the whole combo together. The only thing that is added in that you haven't seen is a push kick. Happens right here. So from the very, very start, and yeah, this is a mouthful, we do the axe kick, jab cross, pull away side kick, frame up, round kick, cross punch, spin hook kick, Superman, move off the line kick, and push kick. Now when he does that push kick, it's with the leg that lands behind him. So he starts orthodox and he finishes southpaw if he's doing it all right. Fatigue is always a compromiser, just like in real life application, fear is a compromiser. So, guards drop or things move slower, but that's part of the training, right? After training, we reassess, we talk about things that were good, and then next time we try to get better. Attaboy, attaboy. And then here we go, southpaw. Again, the fatigue is real at this point. We're coming up on an hour and 15 minutes, and we're trying to keep things clean despite fatigue as best as we can. click the thumbs up and like this video because I'd really appreciate that support. Leave a comment. I'd love to talk to you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. And that way you'll be notified every single time we upload a brand new video. If you are interested in learning how to kickbox, I'm linking a video right there that you can click on. It is a good fundamental kickboxing video to get you started. And you can follow along with me and you can learn the basics. And then you can come back to this video and you can follow along with John. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Bye.